calculating measurements for Pinafore Bib. Pinafore is a collarless, sleeveless apron-like garment worn over a shirt or any other tops. Young girls normally have this as their school uniform. At the end of this session, you will be able to identify the various parts of a Pinafore bib, identify the standard measurements required for making a Pinafore bib, make the required calculations for making a Pinafore bib. Usually, the uniform half skirt is made from a single piece of fabric. If you look at the design, the Pinafore has a bib in the front and the back. It has box pleats all around, a waistband, belt loops, and an adjustable hook closure, which means a Pinafore bib is attached to a half skirt. We've already learned how to make a half skirt with box pleats, so we can use the same here and we will see how to make the bib in detail. The standard body measurements required for making a Pinafore bib are front length, waist circumference, and shoulder width. Here we have the front length is 10.5 inches, waist circumference is 22 inches, and shoulder width is 12 inches. We have to look at each part in detail, make calculations, and add seam allowance and varying ease to know how to draft and cut the fabric for a Pinafore bib. We identified the body measurements for making the bib, which are the front length of 10.5 inches, waist circumference of 22 inches, and shoulder width of 12 inches. Now to the front length of 10.5 inches, we need to add half-inch seam allowance for the shoulder seam and half-inch seam allowance for the waistline seam. So we get 11.5 inches for the total front length for drafting. In order to get the neckline, we need to first find 1/6 of the waist circumference, which is 3 5/8 inches, and then add half inch to get 4 1/8 inches for drafting. In this session, we have learnt the various parts and standard measurements required for making a Pinafore bib. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key points. Pinafore has a bib in the front and the back. It has box pleats all around, a waistband, belt loops, and an adjustable hook closure. The Pinafore bib is attached to a half skirt. The standard body measurements required for making a Pinafore bib are front length, waist circumference, and shoulder width. We have to understand the design and add seam allowance and varying ease to the standard measurements and make some calculations for drafting purpose. With that, we've come to the end of this session.